Try to count the number of people that has stick with you from your childhood all the way to adulthood. Chances are, with the exception of some family member, there aren't going to be many, if at all. Try to remember your closest friend when you were a kid. Think about how inseparable you are, how it feels like your friendship with them will last forever. Now, has that holds true? If yes, then you are among the lucky few. Because in life, people come and go, relationship drifts apart, and we move on. But if that is true, then why should we even bother to connect with people in the first place? If all they do is eventually leave, why should we spend our time with them? Well, today, I'd like to explore the answer to that question through the lens of an elf mage named Frieren. Enter a man named Himmel and his party member, Haita the priest, Isen the dwarf, and an elf named Frieren. They are your basic fantasy adventure comp with a knight, a healer, a warrior, and a mage. And we've seen this all before, a group of unlikely people banding together to fight an evil overlord as we follow their glorious hero's journey from start to finish. But the story that I want to discuss with you today is not interested in how they band together to begin with, or what kind of adventure they went through. Rather, we start at the end of their journey. The Demon King has been defeated, the world has been saved, and our heroes are welcomed home with cheers and applause as they spend their last evening together under a beautiful meteor shower that only happens once in a half century. And after 10 years of adventure, the time has finally come for our heroes to part ways and continue their journey on their own. From this point on, the tale of Frieren Beyond Journey's End begins. Fantasy adventure is one of the oldest genres in the world of fiction. From tales like the Odyssey to Percy Jackson and the Olympians, it seems like there is no more iteration or interpretation of this genre that has not yet been told over and over again with different skin. The basic premise of them all is, we follow one or group of heroes that fight an evil entity in a world filled with magic and the supernatural. So, more or less, we know how the story goes. But then, after the heroes complete their quest, as we reach the final page of the book, there's one lingering question in our mind. What happens next? We've dedicated so much time seeing them fought to their tooth and nail in wars and battles to save the world. We've seen how our protagonists overcame adversaries, how their characters developed through the conflicts they face. Now that the journey is over, what will they do next? That is the fair question that wants to be explored by Sousou no Frieren, or Frieren Beyond Journey's End, or literally, Frieren at a Funeral. Of course, the manga series is not the first to play with the idea of exploring the post-journey tales of a hero's journey. Novels like Harry Potter includes an epilogue that shows who our favorite characters ends up with, and what kind of stupid name they name their children. Percy Jackson, on the other hand, creates a lot of spin-off, focusing on different characters and new conflicts, while stories like Star Wars and Naruto explore the adventure of a new generation. Sousou no Frieren takes a different kind of approach. After the group disbanded, Frieren went on to explore the world, dedicating the next 100 years to collecting myriad of magic spells and artifacts, promising to return once in a while to meet her former party members. You see, Frieren is an elf that can live for thousands of years. Being virtually immortal, she perceives time differently with regular human. What is a decade for us feels no more than a month for her. The 10 years she spent with her party members, a journey worth a lifetime for them, were merely a small portion of her life. Frieren was not oblivious to the fact, but rather she was ignorant of it, only truly grasping how short a human life is when she returned after 50 years. And be shocked, seeing the once handsome hero, Himmel, has now become old and frail. And not until she saw him in his final slumber does it truly rain down upon her, that she hasn't truly appreciated the time they had spent together. For Frieren, 10 years were not a significant amount of time. She has time to spare, which is why there has never been an urgency to get to know and enjoy her times with her comrades. She can focus on her mission and tasks at hand for now, and still have plenty of years to build deeper connection with others. Or so she thought. Alas, her comrades do not have the luxury she has, and Frieren came to this realization a little too late. After the funeral, she asked her former squad to join her again, but they are already way past their prime to do so. The time has passed, and it can never be turned back. From that point onwards, Frieren makes it up to her to understand more about human. At first, she went on this journey alone. That is until she was reunited with the now dying Haita, who entrusted his prodigy to her, a young wizard named Fan. The same goes with Aizen, who put his disciple, a warrior named Stark, on her care. Frieren once more embarks on an adventure with new companions. But this time, she has become wiser. She has now learned the importance of enjoying the moments she has with the people she's with. This is shown when Haita was lying on his deathbed. At the time, Fan, his student and adopted daughter, spent much of her time to train so she can become stronger. Looking at this, Frieren reminds her that she will still have time to train later, but she may not be able to see her father figure again. And when Haita taught Frieren to live with Fan so she doesn't have to witness him passing away, Frieren reminds him of the importance of spending what time he has left to make as many memories with Fan as possible. This shows that she has now found a greater appreciation in slowing down and enjoy the time she has with those that are important to her. Once we have been introduced to our main trio, the manga starts to blend into a more typical fantasy adventure format, as we see them going to different places and facing one adversary after the others, gradually drifting away from its initial more melancholic undertone. But that is definitely still there. In fact, the actions often take the backseat in the story. More often, the story focuses on the more mundane aspect of the journey. And if there is one thing that remains as the thesis of the series, it is to find an appreciation in the journey you walk on, and in those who walk it with you. We may not live for 1,000 years like Frieren does, and our perception of time may not be too different with those around us, but we still often became a victim of our own ignorance to the passage of time. In that, we often forget that nothing lasts forever. We buried ourselves in piles of works to pursue our goals and ambition, to achieve our version of defeating the Demon King or collecting magical spells, setting aside unimportant things like relationship, friendship, or family, convincing ourselves that we still have plenty of time for that later. And in the blink of an eye, we lose the people that are important to us, be it our parents, friends, or significant others. And when that happens, it felt painful. In truth, parting ways are a natural part of any kind of relationship. No matter how much we try to prevent it, no matter how tight our relationship with someone is, time will eventually separate us from those we once hold dear. It may come with the passing of someone, but it can also happen by them simply going to different cities, going to different school. Perhaps they meet someone new, or they simply grew into a new personality or interest that no longer match with ours. In the world of fiction, we often see in stories like Harry Potter and Naruto, where all the protagonists stick together from start to finish, even after the journey's end. But in reality, this rarely happens. No matter what our journey leads to, it will eventually find its destination. And once it does, the people we went on that journey with will eventually continue to walk on their own journey, one that doesn't necessarily include us in their party. People will eventually part ways. But Sousou no Frieren does not want the reader to focus on the emptiness and the inevitable nature of the end. Rather, it wants us to take that understanding and use it to remind ourselves to the importance of enjoying the most from the life and the people that we have now, while it's still there. To not wait for them to become nothing more than memory and nostalgia to truly appreciate it. So when it is time to say goodbye, we won't be chained by regret. The fact that we know that it won't last forever is what makes every moment valuable. Of course, it is not a sin for us to chase our goals in life. To focus on our career and passion is equally important. But if you don't at least get an enjoyment from your journey there, you'll find yourself disappointed when you finally reach that mountain, only to see that the momentary glory does not eclipse the years of misery you endured. Furthermore, enjoying the moment is not all there is to it in appreciating this journey of ours. You see, despite her youthful look, we often see Frieren sharing her wisdom to Fan and Stark about things that she learned on her previous ventures, but not on how to become stronger like her. Rather, it's about how to be a better person, to live a better, more fulfilling life, to find enjoyment even in the chaotic or mundanity of it all. Because the fact that every relationship and every journey will eventually meet its end does not mean there is nothing for you in the process. Even if the time is fleeting, the things you experience and the feeling you had are still real. For better or for worse, they still shape you as a person. You learn and you grow from it. This growth doesn't happen because you reach the destination, but because you experience the journey. And you can use that to be a better person and cultivate a better relationship with others. Because you too, whether you realize it or not, will become a memory, an experience, and a lesson for others around you. In this journey of ours, not every moment will be a bliss, but not every moment will be a pain either. And I think the manga tells us that if we can learn to appreciate the journey and the people we walk it with, it can make the blissful moment even more enjoyable, and the painful ones a bit bearable. For me, Sousou no Frieren is more than any other fantasy adventure manga. When I read them, there is a sense of melancholy and nostalgia tugging at my heart. Perhaps it is because just like Frieren, I too sometimes find myself not realizing the value of someone close to me until it was too late. And maybe at this time when a lot of people are losing someone in their life, some of you can relate to that as well. But I think seeing how Frieren was able to build new connection with new people while still holding the memory and lessons he learned on her previous journey affirms the idea that even after we part ways with those who are important to us, it is not the end. For what lies beyond a journey's end is yet another journey. That is all. Thank you. Thank you everyone for watching this video essay. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and share it with the people that you think would like it as well. If you're interested in different kind of manga, perhaps one that is darker and more mature, take a look at this video on the evolution of horror manga. Speaking of appreciating our journey, this channel is dedicated to appreciate all the things in life that makes it slightly more beautiful, especially in the world of storytelling, from manga, anime, movies, books, and more. If you find any of that interesting, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell button so you won't miss the next video. Once again, thank you, love you, and see you next time.